Welcome to Wayne's World Garage. We're at the Sawmill again today, and we've got another BAP. That's a big American pine. Hopefully we'll be sawing this guy up soon. The nastiest looking log I've seen. It's got all sorts of garbage sticking out. And if you look at it, the diameter of this guy here is every bit of 32 inches, 34 inches, but he's got all these sticky out things. So that's not going to be real positive. But if you look at where the sapwood is, we're going to cut the sapwood off. We're going to stop sign this guy, cut the sapwood off, and we'll have 2-foot pieces here. And as John Clark suggested, how big of a log can we saw? Hopefully you all can see this okay. So this saw blade here is 56 inches. And if I take my ruler on the inside collar, we're going to come up to basically 24 inches and 3/8. So in one slice, we can do 24 inches. It doesn't mean that's the biggest log we can do, because we end up stop signing them and stuff like that. So this guy is sharp. You know, we hit the dogs last week, hit one of them, and Tom and I sharpened them. Tom did all the work, I watched him, and now it's sharp as can be. So this should go up pretty well. But 24 inches with the 56-inch saw blade. So there's our laser system. It's green laser. It turns out when it's cold outside, it's ineffective. It doesn't really work. It works great when it's hot outside, and it is 44 degrees outside, unlike 17 last weekend, so we're nice and toasty warm right now. So we did some initial adjusting, and it looks like it's close. Okay, look, check out my hand here. Okay, and it's got this vernier adjustment on it now. I may need to get it a little bit closer to the saw blade. We'll see. I don't know if we need to adjust it or not. When these lasers are really cold, like 22 degrees out, like last weekend, it didn't work. Last Wednesday, I put my hand around the laser, warmed it up, and it started working perfectly well. So we'll see. Tom, our saw sharpening guy, brought a couple of logs. This one looks like it has some branches in it. It's got 3 centers parted. I'm not sure how good that's going to be, but who knows what type of wood this is. Used to be some pretty high dollar wood. It's black walnut. So we're going to saw them up, and he's going to make some tabletops out of those guys. So we're probably not going to do that today. We're going to work in this big pine. Who wants to learn how to start it up? Gas on. And somebody already done that, probably Pete. Magneto on. This on. This is important because that's a low oil pressure shut off. Choke. Choke. Make sure our lid's off. And then
as the oil pressure builds, the low oil pressure shutoff switch flips down. Alan was kind enough to give me a ripping chain meant for actually chainsaw mills. We put this on a 261, and for cutting with the grain like we're doing here, it works really, really well. Thanks, Alan. As you can see, the laser needs a little bit more adjusting, but doing that with 10 people hanging out is kind of difficult, so I'll do it towards the end of the day. Additionally, today actually should be called Learn How to Set Dogs Day, because Alan's not here, and he's usually working with Matt to roll these logs. So we've got a bunch of newbies here. We've got Tango 3, we've got Andy, and one of Andy's friends, and they're doing a great job. But when you think about it, where do you learn how to set a dog? I don't know. Didn't learn that in high school. Didn't learn that in kindergarten either. So we didn't realize that. We're going to do a short video of it next week, how to set a dog and how to do some of this stuff. So it's critical that everybody be safe, and that's the most important thing. And we were. But as you can see, it's a big log. We're stop signing it. I'm using a 261 every once in a while when I cut a little bit too much to finish sawing it through. And you're wondering, why didn't you see me slice the first couple slices off this guy? Because I didn't turn the camera on. Sorry about that. All right, we're finally at the point now where we can put the flat side down on the carriage. It'll just come above my 24 3/8 inches, but I think it'll work out okay. And I've sped this up a little bit because it might be a little bit painful to watch us deal with this. It's hard to roll. It's a big log. It's 30 some odd inch diameter. It's heavy, and we don't all have a whole lot of experience, especially some of the guys trying to set the dogs. Additionally, we need to be careful this thing doesn't roll back on us. So we put chocks in there to keep that from happening. Now it's time to put the flat side down on the carriage and back against the knees and cut a few more cants. And it works out pretty well, as you'll see. We always like to keep the flat side on the carriage and back towards the cants, and we end up getting much, much better looking lumber. It's a little bit hard to do. If we had Cody here, we'd just roll this log forward a little bit because he could just grab it and roll it forward. We could push it back and roll it forward. But without Cody here, we end up pushing it back a little bit and rolling it 270 degrees, and it gets the job done. We've got some really nice cants here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this one flat on the carriage. And fortunately, we'll work with pine here. So Andy and I are going to lift up this other one and put one on top of the other. And we'll be able to saw a lot of boards pretty quickly, as you'll see. Okay, what are we doing here? As you can see, we stacked one cant on top of the other, and it's nice because the saw is capable of cutting 2 boards at one time, especially when they're only 6-inch boards. But as the cant gets smaller and smaller, I don't want this thing to collapse because that'll be a catastrophe. So what we do when it gets a little bit smaller, we'll unstack it, and then we'll cut boards at a time. And it kind of works out pretty well. Very, very effective use of this. And we get, another 10 boards out of this. As you've probably noticed, we've been making 2x6s, but now I'm going to take this cant and we're going to knock it down sideways and make 2x4s out of it. Turns out it's perfect. They're 3.5 inches high, 1.5 inches, same ones you get from Home Depot, except these are a little bit wet. I hear that whistling noise also. I got to look into it, what it is. It's the drive belts, which move the carriage. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I've heard it a couple times. I don't see anything funny going on, but we better look into it before it turns into drama. He's a quick learn. From upstate New York, my old stomping ground. He's got it figured out how to dog these guys down and get this thing taken care of. Thanks, Andy, for learning so quick, and thanks for helping us out. So what I'm doing here is, once we tip it sideways, I want to make a very, very thin slice just to square up the cant. And that's exactly what we're doing. And we've got Bruce down the other end, hit the offload end, kind of guiding me a little bit to make sure I've got it perfect, since my laser isn't quite right yet. Works out pretty well. It's a good way of doing it. As you noticed, there's one cant stacked on top of the other. I spared you the pain of watching some old geezers try and lift up these heavy cants. Actually, it's pine, so they're not that heavy. Regardless, I actually just forgot to put the video in here. We did stack one on top of the other, and as you'll see, it cuts very, very quickly since the saw is working really well. Tom, thanks for sharpening it. And the engine's cranking out some horsepower today, so that's just a good thing. Try doing this with your little circular saw. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video today. If you did, please subscribe, leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, tell your friends about it. We're trying to get more and more subscribers. I've got 5,000 subscribers now. That's pretty cool. I think YouTube once in a while decides which videos to push, which ones not to push. Who knows? Regardless, we're having fun doing this. We've got lots of good volunteers here helping out. We're going to do a couple of shorts next week on some lessons on how to operate the sawmill and how to do things a little bit safely, because that's important. Figure out how to run the dogs. I don't know how to run a dog anyway. Take care. Thanks again for watching.